Okay, let's jump right into this. Imagine this. You wake up from a deep sleep. You glance over at the notebook on your nightstand, and you realize the handwriting staring back at you? Yeah, it's not yours. Spooky, right? Today, we're decoding an absolute psychological thriller of a story called The Dream Journal. It follows a writer, Ted Fredericks, who goes on this terrifying yet totally illuminating journey straight into his own mind. We're going to use this incredible story to unpack the messy, complex relationship between our structured, conscious waking mind and the wild, untamed depths of our subconscious creativity. It's a fantastic ride, so let's get into it. Think of this as our map of the creative subconscious for today's explainer. 1. The Lucid Project. 2. Crossing the Dream Threshold. 3. The Archive of Intent. And finally, 4. The Creative Partnership. Chapter 1. The Lucid Project, Mastering the Mind. So, meet Ted Fredericks. He's an ambitious writer, always brainstorming, and he decides he wants to literally master his subconscious. He buys this fancy leather-bound journal, completely determined to capture his dreams like a machine running perfectly optimized code. And if we trace the timeline of this abrupt collision between his expectations and reality, it's pretty wild. For the first 7 days, Ted's plan works flawlessly. He's totally the master of his domain, logging these vivid fragments of flying through clouds and talking to giants, all in his messy, hurried scrawl. But then, we hit day 8. He wakes up feeling fully rested, but his mind is just an absolute void, complete silence. You know that chilling, empty feeling of staring at a blank wall for 8 hours? It's exactly like that. But when he opens his journal to record this failure, well, that's when his world completely tilts on its axis. Right beneath his last messy entry sits a full page of elegant, perfect copperplate calligraphy in this dark ink. It's a script he definitely didn't write, using a fountain pen he doesn't even own. It reads, "The garden is heavy with the scent of lilies. The iron gate is rusted shut, but the key is buried beneath the roots of the willow." This is such a brilliant moment in the story. It illustrates the exact second Ted realizes, wait a minute, I am not the only one at the steering wheel here. His subconscious is suddenly acting entirely independently, and clearly it has a voice of its own. Now, Ted's reaction is probably exactly what you or I would do. Total panic, immediately followed by frantic rationalization. He desperately tries to hack his mind using waking world defense mechanisms. He initiates this strict, frantic protocol. Step 1, he starts performing reality checks, literally staring at his hands to ensure he's actually awake. Step 2, he sets up a voice recording app on his phone. Step 3, he even hides the journal in a desk drawer all the way across the room, falling asleep to the mantra, "I'm awake, I am in control." He's trying so hard to force structure onto a total mystery. He ends up clinging to this clinical definition he finds online: parasomnia and false awakenings. It gives him a logical framework, right? The internet tells him his brain is just glitching, attempting to capture dreams or sleep right because he's exhausted. It's a very comforting, scientific explanation. But, as we'll see, the narrative is about to utterly shatter this logic, showing us that some parts of the human mind simply refuse to be diagnosed and boxed neatly away. Which brings us to the terrifying climax of Ted's waking world illusion. He wakes up at 3 a.m. to this rhythmic thumping sound. He checks his voice app and it's recorded a melodic humming, a sliding drawer, and the crisp scratching of a pen. He flips on the light to find the drawer open and the journal filled with fresh calligraphy, telling him the key is already in his hand. But here is the absolutely crucial point. Think about the evidence right in front of him. His right hand is stained with permanent ink. The wall clock, it's spinning backward. And when he looks at his hand again, he has 7 fingers. Yeah, 7. Ted isn't sleep writing. He isn't actually awake at all. He has been deeply asleep this entire time. Part 2. Crossing the dream threshold, leaving logic behind. So the walls of reality have completely fallen away, and Ted is forced to abandon all his rationalizations. Enter Geno. Geno is this mysterious figure in a charcoal suit who introduces himself as Ted's dream guide. Ted, of course, tries to argue that this is all just parasomnia, still clinging to his internet research, but Geno drops this incredible truth bomb. He says the internet gives the conscious mind a soft pillow to land on, but sleep writing doesn't produce poetry, and it certainly doesn't change the anatomy of your hands. Geno explains that the subconscious isn't just some piece of software code to be mastered or hacked, it is a wilderness. Actually, Geno had to scare Ted into this state to stop him from passively recording data and force him to start truly noticing his inner world. To go deeper, Geno leads Ted to his bedroom closet. Now, think about it. In the waking world, a closet is just a cramped, 3 by 5 foot space for winter coats? But Geno explains that in this realm, geography is dictated by intent, not architecture. When they step inside, the closet metaphorically acts as the throat of the dream. They transition out of the fast-paced, rigid house of the ego and emerge into a claustrophobic corridor of towering hedges. They are actively moving into the slow, sprawling landscape of the deep subconscious. Part 3. The Archive of Intent, the Manifestation of Creativity. Following those deep hedges brings Ted to a solitary gate, and as he turns that rusted iron key, the oppressive mist just vanishes. They step into this incredibly vibrant garden under permanent twilight. And picture the impossible flora around him. I mean, these aren't your normal backyard plants. We're talking translucent glass flowers swaying without a breeze, vines with silver heartlease, and bioluminescent indigo lilies. Gina reveals that this isn't just a garden, it's the physical manifestation of Ted's creativity. Every single story he's ever started, every character he imagined but abandoned, it all grows here. It is a beautifully tended sanctuary of his unfinished ideas. Right in the center of this garden sits a modest, white-shingled cottage. But when Ted steps inside, it pulls off this impossible trick of space. The small exterior opens up into a grand, opulent mansion complete with marble staircases, gilded mirrors, and mahogany bookshelves rising way up into the shadows. The air smells heavily of expensive beeswax and aged brandy. And get this, the entire house actually hums with the steady vibration of 1,000 breathing stories. It's wild. This brilliantly illustrates just how incredibly vast and rich our subconscious truly is, right beneath the surface of our everyday thoughts. Part 4. The Creative Partnership, Merging the Two Minds. Following a haunting silver flute melody drifting down from the upper floors, Ted climbs the stairs. He pushes open a door to a candlelit room and finally finds the person writing those cryptic journal entries. And it's not a monster. It's not a ghost. When the figure turns around, Ted is looking at an older version of himself. His face is lined with experience, his eyes are just burning with this sharp, creative fire, and he's wearing a coat of midnight blue brocade. This double represents Ted's deeply rooted, unconstrained imagination. It's the entity responsible for the calligraphy, the cryptic poetry, and that haunting flute music. This right here is the foundational metaphor of our entire explainer, two absolutely necessary halves of the creative process staring right at each other. Think of it like two sides of a coin. On one side, we have the conscious mind, our waking Ted. He brings high-resolution digital renders, structure, technology, and most importantly, the practical bridge to reality. On the flip side, we have the subconscious, the older self. This side brings the elegant calligraphy, the deep emotional music, the ancient roots, and the raw inspiration. The takeaway, one cannot finish the work without the other. They need each other. Ted finally realizes what he must do. He pulls out his own structured work, his digital renders, and lays them directly over the cryptic scrolls. He looks at his double and says, "The answer isn't in the mystery of who is writing. The answer is the partnership." He hands the silver flute back to his older self to keep playing the music, and Ted takes out his own simple pencil to write. As they start working together, something amazing happens. The impossible mansion begins to safely blend with the comforting reality of Ted's waking world office. He isn't afraid anymore. He knows exactly what comes next. And that brings us to the end of Ted's incredible journey, but man, it leaves us with such a profound reflection for our own lives. We all have that garden, right? That archive of intent filled with brilliant, half-finished ideas. So what stories are waiting in your archive? When you face a creative block or a difficult problem, are you like the early Ted, trying to forcefully control and hack your mind? Or are you ready to stop fighting, pick up the pencil, and truly partner with your own deep imagination? Definitely think about that the next time you stare at a blank page. Thanks so much for diving into this explainer with me.